Hey everyone, welcome back to the deep dive.
Hi, everyone.
So today we're taking a look at something that I think is very interesting and timely.
Yeah.
You know, food is fuel, right? We think of it as energy. It's going to power us through our workouts and just get us through the day. But
Right.
what if food could be a tool for relaxation?
Hmm.
What if it could help us calm down?
Yeah, you know what is so interesting about that is that we're always looking outside of ourselves for solutions to stress.
Totally.
Like, we're going to download an app or go on a retreat or.
But we got to go find the thing.
Yeah, like find the thing. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But this idea that multiple times a day we have this opportunity to kind of shift our internal state by what we're choosing to eat,
Right.
I think is really powerful.
It's like a light bulb moment, isn't it? It's like, oh, wait a minute, I have some control over this.
Yes.
So our mission today is to really get into the specifics of this. Like, what are the foods that can actually help us relax, and what's the science behind that? Absolutely.
We're going to call this your edible shortcut
I love that.
to feeling calmer.
Yes,
And we are looking at a whole bunch of sources today.
we are.
We've got Spavelous magazine, we've got CNET, Mind Body Green Greatest, all kind of looking at this link between diet and relaxation.
Yeah. It's amazing how much information is out there now about this topic.
It is, and I think
Yeah.
it's really relevant because, everybody is so stressed these days. It's like
Absolutely.
always on culture, right?
Yeah.
So we want to give you some really tangible things that you can start doing today
Yes.
to, find a little bit more peace.
I love it.
So let's talk about the connection between our mind, our body, and the food that we eat.
Yeah, I think it's easy to think of relaxation as just this mental state, like, oh, I'm just gonna, watch TV and that's gonna be relaxing.
Right.
But what's so interesting is that there are these physiological underpinnings to relaxation as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Like our gut health is literally in communication with our brain.
Our blood sugar levels impact our mood and our energy, and the dance of our hormones has so much to do with how stressed or how calm we feel.
Yeah, it's like a whole ecosystem in there, isn't it? It's not just like,
Oh, it is. It's
Right.
it's all connected.
yeah,
And so Spavelous talks a lot about mindful eating
Yeah.
and how that plays a role.
right. So it's not just about what you eat, but
Exactly.
it's how you eat it.
Absolutely. So, we can all like grab a salad, but if we're, shoveling it in our mouths while we're answering emails,
Right.
that's not exactly promoting a state of relaxation.
Not really sending the right signals.
Not at all. No.
Mm-hmm.
So mindful eating is about engaging all of your senses, smelling your food as you're preparing it,
Mm-hmm.
looking at the colors on your plate, tasting everything fully,
Right.
and really slowing down the process of eating.
Yeah. I mean, that makes so much sense because if you think about when you're stressed,
Yeah,
you're usually rushing through a meal.
absolutely.
You're not even tasting it.
Totally. Just like get it in,
Yeah.
fuel up, let's go.
Yeah.
And so when we take that time to slow down, we're actually activating the parasympathetic nervous system.
Right. Which is that rest and digest system that we all need.
Exactly the opposite of fight or flight.
Yes.
And Spavelous has this great quote that says, "Your spa day starts on your fork."
I love that.
Isn't that nice?
It is.
Yeah. So it's this idea of like not waiting for, a special occasion to relax, but actually bringing that relaxation into your everyday meals.
I love it. Okay. So let's get into the specifics.
Yes.
What are these foods that we're talking about?
Okay. So first up, let's talk about avocados.
Okay. Avocados. I mean, they're everywhere, right?
They're so popular.
They are.
And for good reason. CNET and Greatest both talk about how avocados are a really good source of magnesium.
Okay. Magnesium, that's a mineral, right?
It is, yes. And it's really important for our nervous system function.
Okay.
It helps regulate neurotransmitters, including one called GABA,
Okay.
which has a calming effect on the brain.
Ah, so it can actually help calm those like racing thoughts?
It can sort of like quiet the nervous system.
I like that.
Yeah. And then Spavelous adds that magnesium also plays a role in the production of serotonin.
Okay, serotonin is that like feel-good chemical,
Yeah,
right?
it is, exactly.
Yeah.
It's a neurotransmitter that's involved in mood, sleep appetite, all sorts of things.
Okay, so we want to be making more serotonin.
We do.
Okay.
And avocados can help with that.
Awesome.
And then on top of that, avocados help to stabilize blood sugar levels.
Which is huge.
Which is huge, yes, because when our blood sugar is all over the place, we tend to feel more anxious, more irritable.
Yeah, you get that crash.
You get that crash, exactly.
Yes.
So avocados are kind of like this triple threat for relaxation.
Okay, I'm sold on avocados.
Good.
What else? What else do we have?
Okay, so it's not just the magnesium, it's also the healthy fats in avocados.
Right.
Spavelous talks about this. They mentioned oleic acid specifically.
And that's a monounsaturated fat?
It is, yes.
Okay, and what does that do?
So oleic acid is really beneficial for brain health.
Okay.
It helps to nourish brain cells, and it can also reduce inflammation.
Which is important because inflammation is linked to stress.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
Chronic inflammation has been linked to anxiety and mood disorders.
Right. So if we can calm that inflammation,
Yes.
maybe we can calm our minds a bit.
Exactly, yeah.
Is that cool?
So avocados are great.
I love them.
Me too.
All right, what else we got?
Okay, so Spavelous also gives us a little tip for how to eat avocados more mindfully.
Okay, I'm listening.
They say pay attention to the texture.
Okay.
Feel that creaminess on your tongue. Really savor it.
Yeah.
And that can help you stay more present and grounded.
Okay, so it's like a little mini meditation with your avocado toast.
Exactly, yes.
I love it.
Okay, so moving on from avocados, let's talk about tart cherries.
Okay, tart cherries.
Yes. Spavelous and Mind Body Green both call them a sweet sleep secret.
Ooh, that's intriguing.
Right. So tart cherries are one of the few food sources that contain melatonin.
Oh, that's that sleep hormone, right?
It is. Yes, it helps to regulate our sleep-wake cycle.
So if you're having trouble sleeping,
Yeah,
tart cherries might be your answer.
they could be part of the answer for
Right.
sure.
Okay.
And it's not just about falling asleep, it's also about the quality of our sleep.
Right.
Melatonin helps us get into that deep, restful sleep,
Okay.
which is so restorative.
And we all need more rest.
We do, we do.
Okay, so tart cherries for sleep. What else?
So Spavelous also mentions that tart cherries are packed with antioxidants.
Okay, antioxidants. Those are the things that fight free radicals.
Yes, exactly. And free radicals are these unstable molecules that can damage our cells.
Right, so we want to neutralize them.
We do, and antioxidants help us do that.
Okay.
And so tart cherries, they're helping to protect our bodies from that damage.
Interesting.
Yeah, and they're also helping to reduce inflammation.
Okay, so we're seeing a theme here.
We are,
Yeah.
yes, a lot of these foods that promote relaxation also have anti-inflammatory properties.
Right. Right, because inflammation is linked to stress.
Exactly.
Okay.
And Spavelous recommends drinking unsweetened tart cherry juice in the evening.
Oh, like a little mocktail.
Like a little mocktail, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, as part of your wind-down routine.
I like it. All right, tart cherry juice. It's on the list.
Okay, good.
What's next?
Okay, next up we have another little gem, blueberries.
Blueberries. Okay.
Yes. Spavelous calls them stress-fighting superstars.
Oh, right. I like that.
Yeah, blueberries are full of anthocyanins.
Okay, say that again.
Anthocyanins.
Anthocyanins.
Yes, they're these powerful antioxidants.
Okay.
And they're especially good at reducing inflammation in the brain.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and they can also help protect brain cells from stress.
So they're like little brain protectors.
They are. Yes, they are.
I love it.
And Spavelous mentions some research that shows that people who eat blueberries regularly tend to have better moods.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, and they may even have improvements in memory.
Wow. Okay. I am going to start eating more blueberries.
Good.
Okay, what else we got?
Okay, so blueberries are great on their own, but Spavelous also suggests pairing them with almonds or cashews.
Oh, that sounds good.
Right, for a really grounding and satisfying snack.
Like a trail mix kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
I like it.
So we're getting that good brain-boosting power from the blueberries.
Right?
And then those healthy fats and protein from the nuts.
Yeah, to keep us full and satisfied.
Exactly.
Okay, what else is on our list?
Okay, so now let's move on to something that just feels very comforting.
Okay.
Oatmeal.
Oh, a warm bowl of oatmeal.
Yes, Spavelous calls it a hug in a bowl.
Ah, I love that.
It's so true, especially on a chilly morning.
Yeah, it just makes you feel all warm and fuzzy inside.
It does, it
Yeah.
does. And it's not just the temperature, it's also the way that oats digest.
Okay, how's that?
So oats are a complex carbohydrate, which means that they break down slowly in the body,
Okay,
and that helps us to feel more calm and grounded.
interesting.
Yeah. And it also helps to stabilize our blood sugar levels.
Right, which we know is important for mood.
Exactly.
Okay.
So we're not getting those spikes and crashes that can make us feel anxious.
Right.
And then another thing about oats is that they're a good source of tryptophan.
Okay, tryptophan, I've heard of that. What is it again?
So tryptophan is an amino acid that our bodies use to make serotonin.
Oh, right, serotonin, that feel-good chemical?
Yes,
Oh,
exactly.
Okay.
And oats can actually help to increase the absorption of tryptophan in the brain.
So it's like a little helper for serotonin production.
It is, yes.
Okay, I like it.
And then Spavelous reminds us that Oatmeal can be a mindful eating experience as well.
Okay, how so?
So they encourage us to slow down as we're making our oatmeal, to really notice the steam rising from the bowl, to pay attention to the texture,
Okay.
and then to choose our toppings with intention.
Yeah, because I feel like I usually just like dump whatever's in my pantry on top.
Right, yeah. It's easy to just like grab whatever's there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if we take a moment to think about, okay, what would really nourish me right now? What would really taste good?
Right.
That can be a really nice way to bring more mindfulness into the experience.
I like it. Okay, oatmeal. Check what's next.
Okay, so we've got lots of good stuff here. Let's move on to leafy greens.
Leafy greens. Oh, kale, spinach, all that good stuff.
Yes, exactly. Spavelous calls them magnesium magic.
Okay, so we're back to magnesium.
Yes, magnesium is really important for relaxation.
Clearly.
It is. And leafy greens are a great source of it.
Okay.
And Spavelous specifically points out that magnesium is really important for regulating the HPA axis.
Okay, the HPA axis. Refresh my memory. What's that again?
So the HPA axis is our body's central stress response system.
Okay.
It involves the hypothalamus, the pituitary gland, and the adrenal glands.
Right.
And it basically controls how we respond to stress.
Okay.
And magnesium helps to keep that system balanced.
So if we don't have enough magnesium,
Yeah,
our stress response system might be a little out of whack.
it might be overactive.
Okay.
And then Spavelous mentions that a lot of people are actually magnesium deficient. Yeah. And that deficiency can show up as muscle tension fatigue and even low-grade anxiety.
Oh, wow. So just getting enough magnesium could really help.
It can make a big difference.
Okay, so leafy greens are a must.
Yes, they are.
All right, what else we got?
Okay, now let's talk about something that's almost synonymous with relaxation.
Okay.
Herbal teas.
Ooh, yes, a nice cup of chamomile tea.
Exactly. Spavelous calls them liquid exhale.
I love that.
Right.
Sweet.
It's
perfect.
And it's not just chamomile. There are other herbal teas that can be really calming as well.
Like what?
So peppermint tea is really good for digestion,
Okay.
which can often be linked to stress.
Yeah, when you're stressed, your stomach can get all tied up in knots.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then lemon balm's another good one. It can help to improve mood and sleep.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And Spavelous emphasizes that it's not just about the tea itself, it's also about the ritual.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
It's about taking a moment to really savor the experience, to hold the warm mug in your hands, to breathe in the steam, to sip slowly.
Yeah, it's like a little moment of self-care.
Exactly.
I like it, all right. Herbal teas, what's next?
Okay, now let's talk about another category of foods that can be really helpful for relaxation.
Okay.
Coconut and other healthy fats.
Okay, so we're not just talking about coconut oil here.
No, we're talking about a variety of healthy fats.
Yeah.
So coconut oil, olive oil, ghee nuts, seeds.
Okay.
Spavelous refers to these as hormone helpers.
Hormone helpers, okay.
Yeah, and that's because these healthy fats are really important for hormone production.
Right, and hormones are involved in everything.
They're involved in our mood, our sleep, our energy levels, our stress response.
So if our hormones are balanced,
Yes,
we're more likely to feel relaxed.
exactly.
Okay.
And healthy fats can also have a grounding effect on the nervous system.
Grounding, what does that mean?
So it's like they send a signal to the body that it's safe and nourished.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and that can help us to shift out of that fight or flight mode.
Right into that rest and digest mode.
Exactly.
Okay.
And Spavelous gives some simple suggestions for how to incorporate these healthy fats into our diet.
Okay.
So they say you can add a spoonful of coconut oil to your smoothie.
Okay.
You can drizzle olive oil on your veggies.
Okay.
You can use ghee in your cooking.
Okay.
And of course, you can just snack on nuts and seeds.
Right. Okay. So lots of options.
Lots of options, yes.
All right. Last but not least, what else do we have?
Last but not least, we have nuts and seeds.
Okay. Nuts and seeds.
Yes, Spavelous calls them small but mighty mood supporters.
Ah, I like that.
Yeah, they're little powerhouses.
They are.
And they're packed with nutrients that can help us to relax.
Oh, okay. Like what?
So cashews, for example, are a good source of tryptophan.
Right. Which is a precursor to serotonin.
Exactly.
Okay.
And Spavelous actually calls cashews nature's Prozac.
Wow. Okay. I'm going to need to get some cashews.
Yeah, they're a good one.
Okay.
And then pumpkin seeds are another good choice. They're rich in zinc and magnesium.
Right. Magnesium again.
Magnesium again, yes, it's a very important mineral.
Okay.
And then walnuts are a good source of omega-3 fatty acids.
Omega-3s, those are good for brain health, right?
Yes, they are. They're essential for brain health, and they can also help to improve mood and reduce anxiety.
Okay, so we've got cashews, pumpkin seeds, walnuts, all good for relaxation.
Yes, they are.
All right. How should we eat them?
So Spavelous gives a few suggestions. You can sprinkle them on salads.
Okay.
You can have them as a snack.
Okay.
You can add them to oatmeal.
Right.
You could even make your own trail mix.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea.
Right.
Okay.
And they also encourage us to eat nuts and seeds mindfully.
Okay, how so?
So slow down, really taste each bite, count your chews,
Okay.
that kind of thing.
Okay, so we've talked about what to eat.
Yes.
Now let's revisit how to eat it.
Yes, mindful eating is so important.
It is.
Spavelous gives us a really nice guide to mindful eating for calm.
Okay, let's hear it.
All right, so the first step is to pause and take 3 deep breaths before you start eating.
Okay, I can do that.
Yes. It's so simple, but it can make a big difference.
Right, just to kind of shift out of that like go, go, go mode.
Exactly, yes.
Okay.
Then engage all of your senses as you're eating. So really smell your food. Look at it. Notice the colors, the textures.
Right.
And then this is a big one. Put away your phone.
Uh-huh.
Turn off the TV. Create a distraction-free zone.
Yeah, because I think a lot of us are guilty of just like eating in front of a screen.
Totally. Yeah, it's so common.
Yeah.
But when we do that, we're not really present with our food.
Right, we're not really tasting it.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then another important tip is to chew your food thoroughly.
Okay. Yeah, my mom always used to tell me to chew my food.
Right. Like 20 times or something.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's good advice.
it is.
And it actually signals to our body that we're safe and relaxed.
That's interesting.
Yeah, because when we're stressed, we tend to eat quickly and not chew our food properly.
Right, it's like we're in survival mode.
Exactly.
And then finally take a moment to express gratitude for your food.
Okay.
Even if it's just a silent thank you.
Yeah.
This can help to shift us into that rest and digest mode.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah, so it's really about bringing awareness and intention to the act of eating.
Absolutely.
And that can make a big difference in how we feel.
Okay, so now I'm curious, people are listening to this and they're probably thinking, okay, this is great information,
Yes.
but like, what are some practical things that I can do?
Yeah.
So Spavelous also addressed some common questions that people have about this connection between food and relaxation.
They did? Yes, they did.
So let's get into those.
Okay.
So the first question that they address is, what are the best foods to eat before bed
Okay.
to kind of like promote relaxation and sleep?
Good question.
Yeah, and their recommendations include some of the things that we've already talked about. So tart cherries, oatmeal,
Yes.
bananas, chamomile tea.
Perfect.
All of those things can help to kind of calm the body and mind before sleep.
Absolutely.
And then another question that they address is, can what we eat actually impact our anxiety levels?
Okay, that's a good question.
It is, and the answer is yes.
Okay.
It can.
So it's not just like a placebo effect.
No, it's
Okay.
actually physiological.
Okay.
So foods that are rich in magnesium, healthy fats, complex carbohydrates,
Yeah.
these can all help to regulate our stress hormones.
Right.
And they can also help to support the balance of neurotransmitters in our brain.
Okay, so it's like a two-pronged approach.
It is, yes.
Awesome.
And then on the flip side of that, they also address the question of, are there any foods that we should avoid if we're trying to feel calmer?
Oh, that's a good question.
It is. And their advice is to be mindful of caffeine, alcohol, and high sugar processed foods.
Right, because those things can kind of spike our nervous system.
They can make us feel more anxious and jittery.
Right, and then we get that crash later.
Exactly. And that crash can make us feel even worse.
Right, so it's like a double whammy.
It is, yes.
Yeah.
And then another really practical question that they address is, how can we practice mindful eating when we're so busy?
Right, because everyone's so busy these days.
Everyone is, yes.
Yeah, so how do we actually make time for this?
So their advice is to start small.
Okay.
You don't have to overhaul your entire life overnight.
Right.
Just start with one small change.
Okay, like what?
So maybe you commit to taking 3 deep breaths before each meal.
Okay, I can do that.
Yes.
Yes.
Or maybe you try having 1 screen-free meal per day.
Okay, that's a good one too.
Yeah, just something small and manageable.
Right.
And then as you get more comfortable with that, you can gradually add in more mindful eating practices.
Okay, so it's like a step-by-step process.
It is, yes.
I like it.
And then finally, they address the question of supplements versus food.
Okay.
So a lot of people are wondering, can I just take a magnesium supplement or a melatonin supplement and get the same benefits?
Right.
And their answer is that whole foods are always going to be superior.
Okay. Why is that?
So whole foods contain a complex array of nutrients that work together synergistically.
Right.
And that synergy is really important.
Okay.
So it's not just about getting the individual nutrients. It's about getting them in the right balance and in the right context.
So it's like the whole is greater than the sum of its parts.
Exactly, yeah.
Ah, okay.
So while supplements might have a role to play in certain situations, they shouldn't be seen as a replacement for a healthy diet.
Right, they should be supplemental.
Exactly.
Okay, I like it.
Yeah, so that's a really good overview of some of the common questions that people have about food and relaxation.
Yeah, that was super helpful. I think, as we come to a close here,
Yeah.
the main takeaway is that your plate can be a really powerful tool
Yes, it can.
for creating inner peace.
It can.
It's not just about the fuel, it's about the feeling.
Exactly.
And we have so much more control over how we feel than we realize.
We do.
And it starts with what we choose to put into our bodies.
Absolutely. And how we choose to eat it,
Yes.
with intention, with awareness.
I love that Spavelous talks about, choosing calm through food is a really beautiful act of self-care.
It's a way of honoring ourselves.
Yes.
And nourishing ourselves on a deep level.
Yeah, it's like a daily ritual.
It is.
That we can do for ourselves.
And they also talk about it as like reprogramming our nervous system,
Oh, I like that.
right? One delicious bite at a time.
Yeah.
So it's this idea that we can actually train our bodies to be more relaxed
Right.
by consistently choosing foods that support relaxation.
I love that.
Yeah. And they also talk about living the spa day life daily.
I love that too.
It's such a nice image, right?
It is.
Like bringing that sense of peace and tranquility into our everyday lives.
Yeah, it's not something that we have to wait for.
Exactly.
It's something that we can create for ourselves.
Yes.
So as you go about your day today,
Yeah.
we want you to think about what is one small change that you can make, either to what you eat or how you eat.
Yes.
That could help you feel a little bit more relaxed.
Yeah.
Maybe it's adding some blueberries to your breakfast, or maybe it's just taking those 3 deep breaths before you start your meal.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, just experiment, pay attention to how you feel,
Yes.
and see what works for you.
And remember, it's a journey. It's not about perfection.
Absolutely.
It's about progress.
Yes.
So be kind to yourself.
Yes, and enjoy the process.
Yes, I love that.
All right, well, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive.
Thank you, everyone.
We'll see you next time. Bye.